Okay class, now we're going to do open seam, French seam and flat fell seam. Okay, so I have 3 A4 size paper fabric. Okay, you guys have to cut 3 A4 size paper fabric. Okay, and I am going to do demonstration on open seam and French seam and flat fell seam. So for all these seams, let's find the middle point, which means you fold half. Okay, iron them nicely first. Okay, and then you fold half. When you have half, okay, mine is not A4 size, yeah, so but you guys have to cut A4 size, yeah. Okay, all right, and then after I fold half for all 3, I cut them. Okay, so I'm gonna start cutting. Okay, folded half and also cut half. Okay, this is a bit dirty. Okay, my iron was dirty. Make sure your irons are clean and everything. Okay, and when you iron, it's clean. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate the open seam first. Okay, so what we do now, put this aside. Okay, we get back to this later. Now you see we have already cut. Okay, you can mark 1.5 cm for seam allowance. Okay, I'm gonna sew here. All right, so maybe you can mark like 1.5 cm seam allowance, and then you can draw a line, and then after that you can pin your fabric together. For me, I usually don't what is it called, mark the lines, because I check out the measurements at the sewing machine there. Okay, so once I'm done pinning my fabrics, okay, let me finish pinning. Okay, once I'm done pinning my fabric, I'm gonna bring my fabric to the sewing machine and I'm gonna start sewing the open seam. Okay, usually how I measure at sewing machine is I know from this point to this point, this line is 1.5 cm. If you guys don't believe, you guys can take a ruler and you guys can try to measure. Okay, so basically it's 1.5 cm. So my fabric will be here. Okay, so I use this as a measurement guide, okay, to help me sew without drawing a line. Okay, so all I have to do is drop my foot down. Okay, and then I'm gonna start sewing. All right, I hope you guys can see. I'm gonna make it darker. All right, 1 2 3, always don't forget to reverse stitch. Remove your pins. Okay, remove your pins. My seam allowance is 1.5 cm. So when I'm done sewing, okay, I remove all the threads. All right. Okay, so once you take out from your sewing machine, okay, you already sew the line, remove all the extra thread. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. Okay, when you open this up, okay, so basically your fabric is here. Look at your seam. This is the front side. Okay, you have to iron nicely. Okay, this is your front side. So how do we do open seam ironing? Okay, open seam ironing, this is the seam, correct? Open seam iron. Okay, so basically this is how you're going to iron your fabric. Make sure you pull your fabric nicely, make sure it's flat when you use your hand. Okay, and then you take your iron and you can start ironing your open seam. So basically this is the open seam. When you're sewing a clothes or what, you know, in future you will be using open seam. Okay, once you have open seam, so at the back, okay, it's going to be like that. Very beautiful, like that. Very clean, a very clean seam. Okay, I don't want you guys to see the ugly part. Okay, okay, this is the open seam. All right, so now we have the open seam, we go for our next seam. Okay class, now we're going to do French seam. Okay, so basically same, you have cut the fabric into half. All right, your A4 size you have cut into half, and then when you open it up, okay, I have marked my fabric. Okay, you guys don't have to mark your fabric. Okay, I have marked cross at the right side of my fabric. Okay, so I'm going to attach, I'm going to do French seam. So how are we going to do French seam? We are going to place, okay, just remember the seam allowance is 1.5 cm, correct? So you see, I have right side now facing my face, correct? So now I'm going to let the wrong side and the wrong side. Okay, now we are going to sew. The wrong side match with the wrong side. The cross part is the right side, okay? Put them together, alright? And I'm going to pin them up and I'm going to sew them up. So my seam allowance is 1.5 cm, but since it's French seam, okay, I'm not gonna sew 1.5 cm seam allowance will be taken for the French seam, but there's two seams. Okay, you will stitch twice. So the first stitching, usually you do 0.5 cm. Okay, so 0.5 cm I'm not going to mark as well, okay, because I always use the machine footer to help me measure. Okay, so let's go to the machine. I'll show you guys. Okay, now as you guys can see, let me make it darker. Okay, all right, so the edge, so basically from this point to this point, okay, from this point, the middle point, because wait, let me show you guys this point. You see my needle pointing this point where the needle goes down. Okay, from that point, from the needle go down point until here, okay, is usually 0.5 cm. So I'm going to place my fabric at the side here, okay, and I'm going to drop my feet and I'm going to start sewing. So basically I just need my fabric to be at this edge here, okay, so that I get the measurement right. Okay, so let me do the 0.5 cm first. Okay, also don't forget, no matter what stitch you do, must do reverse stitch unless you're doing gathers. Okay, my threads have been bundled up. I need to cut the thread. Okay, right, then I'm going to continue. This is step 1, yeah? Once you're done, reverse stitch and you're done. Okay, and then cut off the excessive threads. All right, okay, once you're done, all right, so remember this is step number 1, all right, which is wrong sides sewn together. Okay, what you're going to do now is you're going to open this up, all right, and you're going to push this seam to one side. Okay, you can push the seam to one side, any side. It can be the left side, it can be right side. Okay, because later on we are going to fold this again, so I will show you guys once we iron finish. Okay, all right, now we are going to fold in what direction? Wait, we can cut off this excessive threads. Usually when my bobbin is not right, my threads will be like that. Okay, so once I am iron everything to one side, now we are going to fold side facing the right side. So we're going to fold like that, and we make sure that, you know, this seam here is in the middle. Okay, we fold exactly like this. That means focus. Alright, so basically you see we folded half, correct? Right side facing the right side. Right, now it's going to be like that. Alright, and then just keep folding. Remember we have excess of extra how many? 1 cm. Okay, you can actually cut off this area a little bit off. You can snip it off, like wait. Okay, well, before you pin them or before you iron them, no, actually after you iron. Okay, if you want to snip off, you can snip off. All right, like you can snip at least half of it off. Okay, and then it's gonna be like one stripe off. Okay, see, one stripe is being cut off. All right, and then let's just finish cutting off, and then we can fold it in the manner as I mentioned just now. Okay, so once I fold it, right, because I already ironed already, so once you iron it will be more easier for you to fold. Okay, once you get the fold correct, okay, once you got the fold correctly, okay, pin it up, and then you can iron it, okay, or you can pin it up. For me, I'll do both. Just now I already ironed already. Okay, so I'm going to pin up now. All right, and once I'm done pinning, okay, I'm bring it to my sewing machine because I have another 1 cm allowance to iron. Okay, and then let's do one last one. Okay, all right, we got it. Let's bring it onto the sewing machine. Okay, now I'm gonna sew the 1 cm. All right, usually for 1 cm measurement from the needle point is until this line here, the first line here. So I usually put my fabric, the end of my fabric, at this area to measure. Okay, and then put my footer down, and then I start sewing. All right, so I hope you guys can see. Okay, all right, let me focus again and reduce the brightness so that you guys can see clearly. Okay, when you're done, remember to remove all the threads. Okay, and then once you're done removing all the threads, okay, once removing all the thread, you open this, open it up. Okay, all right, and so like once you're done with the sewing, okay, you can open it up like this. All right, and you can iron. All right, you can actually put it to the left or to the right, it's okay, you know. And then the back side will be a very clean seam. Okay, and then you can iron them. All right, iron them nicely so that your front side will look very beautiful and perfect. Okay, your front side looks very beautiful and perfect. All right, okay, and then please label front seam. Okay, now we have another final piece, one more final seam, okay, which is called flat fell seam. Also, I've already cut half. Okay, you guys also need to cut half, correct? All right, same seam allowance is still 1.5 cm. All right, from here today we will do this flat felt seam. Okay, let's just pin them nicely. And then we know the seam allowance is 1.5 cm, correct? Let's sew that 1.5 cm up. Okay, as mentioned just now, I did tell you guys like I know where I need to place my edge, you know, to get the 1.5 cm measurement. Okay, so I'm gonna start sewing. Of course, reverse stitch. All right, continue. At the edge, remember to do the reverse stitch as well. Once you're done, cut off all the extras. Okay, now I'm gonna show you guys close up. Okay, now that we have this, all right, we open this up. Okay, and we do open seam, and then we try to iron them. All right, and we put it on our fabric and zoom out, and let me get my iron and iron them flat. All right, so for now we have this flat. Okay, and then what we can do here is I would like to cut off only one side, okay, to become shorter, and the other one, okay, will actually fold and wrapped. Okay, I will just show you guys. All right, we cut off this first. Okay, we cut it shorter. Okay, can see, right? We cut it like extra short, more than half. Okay, I don't mind cutting more than half. All right, can see, right? I think I should zoom in a bit. Okay, I'm gonna cut more than half. I will zoom out. Okay, and then I'll continue cutting. Okay, now I don't want this fabric. Okay, all right, I don't want the stripe, so one side of my allowance is bigger than the other. All right, so what am I going to do with this, the longer side? Okay, very easy. Let me try to focus. Okay, I want you guys to do this, fold it to the other side. All right, and then all fold it to the longer side. All right, this is the longer side, correct? This is the short side and this is the long side. Fold towards the long side. Okay, and the long one you can fold it to match with the black thread here. Okay, so basically this is how it's going to be. So black thread, match. All right, match. Okay, and once you have this, all right, once you have this all the way down, okay, what you can do is you fold the whole thing back, because I don't want to see this black line anymore. All right, I'm going to fold it back like this. All right, and I'm going to do a top stitch at the edge here. All right, so if possible, while you're folding in, okay, iron your fabric. All right, let me place a fabric under there. Okay, you can iron them when you're doing this. Okay, and then it will be easier when you fold like this and iron on top. Flat felt seam, yeah class. Okay, iron. Alright, once you iron, okay, you can bring this to your machine to do a top stitch at the top here. Usually flat felt seam you can see in denim, right? So the magic will be you won't be able to see any thread here except for this one piece, the top stitch that you do, will be able to see here one line. Okay, let's do it. Okay class, I'm going to do the top stitch as you guys can see. Alright, it's folded nicely. I'm going to start at the edge there, so remember to reverse stitch, and now we start sewing. Okay, cut off all the threads. This will be the front part of the denim. Okay, you guys can see the flat felt seam. This is the top stitch area. It's done, it's sewn. Okay, make sure your stitch lines is very near. Alright, and then the back, there will only be one stitch. So basically this is the front side of the fabric, this is the right side of the fabric. Okay, so usually at your denim pants, if you are wearing jeans right now, you can check out your own jeans or you can find it in your cupboard. Okay, so when you look for your jeans in the cupboard, you can find where there's two straight lines, that will be the outside of your jeans, which is the right side of your jeans, correct? And for the inside, there will be this seam, alright, and also this stitch. Okay, so this is for flat felt seam, okay, and this is for French seam. Alright, French seam, this will be inside the clothes. Alright, this will be the wrong side. Okay, and the outside will be this. For French seam, usually they use it for like very expensive type of clothes, you know, when you don't use overlock as finishing. Okay, so you use French seam as finishing. Okay, it adds value to your clothes. And the final one is the open seam. Alright, open seam is the most basic one. Alright, people can do overlock at the edges here, alright, of the fabric. Okay, but usually open seam, yeah, all beginners will learn by open seam, and the front will be like this, clean cut. Okay, so far that's it.